Hello, I'm Chris Campbell.
And I'm Joanna Darby, and we welcome you to 15 News.
Hey, you know, Joanna, with this past election, voter education has been in the minds of many people, young and old.
Definitely. It's so important because there were so many people who in the past fought for voting rights.
Indeed, and a local group recently sponsored a voter education mock election in a Southfield Middle School to stress the impact of voter education with young people. Let's check it out. Birney Middle School was the site of a mock election day. Sponsored by the National Congress of Black Women, the event was part of a national initiative that encouraged young people to become engaged in the political process.
Today what's going on is that the students are coming down with their social studies classes, and they are going through the voting process, a two-sided ballot, voting for president, voting for senator, judges, school board. They're really excited about it. They have their voter registration cards as well as their school ID so that they go through the process as realistic as possible.
Well, the students have been learning in their social studies class about the presidential elections and about the electoral votes and how all of that makes a difference in who gets elected, not only to the president's seat, but they also have been having lessons in regards to the other seats that are going to be on the ballot in November in regards to local and city and state candidates.
Voting booths and sign-in lines were used to simulate the voting process as students received their ballots, filled them out, went into makeshift booths, and voted for candidates that appeared on actual Michigan voting ballots.
I learned how to vote myself. Since my father's a state representative, I learned how to vote using a ballot and going through the process of voting.
I learned mostly how to fill out a ballot and how to, fill out and check the candidates that you would like to pick.
While students learn the ins and outs of voting, educators hope that it would lead to them becoming informed voters in the future.
Well, one thing that I hope that they get out of the elections today is to understand what the voting process is like and to understand what the difference between the Democratic candidates and the Republican candidates and the platforms that they stand on. So they began to have a grasp of what the political agendas are of the different candidates and begin to understand that and the importance of selecting the candidate that's right for their community. I think it will impact them tremendously. And even though they're not at a legal age to vote now, they can begin to have those important and critical conversations with their parents and their relatives about the voting process and about issues that the candidates stand on. So it just begins to impact their interest in candidates and, like I said, the entire voting process.
I think it's something they will get excited about. They've been excited about this voting day, for the last few school weeks. We've had signs around the school. I think they're just excited to have their voice be heard. They've brought up a lot of good questions in class. They've, raised a lot of interesting types of, scenarios about voting. So it's just getting them excited. And they even said to me they can't wait to vote until 2018, but then someone else said, well, we won't be able to vote for president until 2020. So they're already thinking about that, knowing that when they're 18, it won't yet be a presidential election, but 2020 will when they are 20. So I can already see the excitement building, and I think that's something that's going to stay with them and just keep them involved, civically in their voting rights. I think it's that every voice, every vote counts. They definitely realize the impact that their voice has. We've been talking about it in class for the last couple days, last couple school days. They've looked at the ballot, studied the ballot. We've talked about why it's so important to vote. Every vote counts, and that's really something that all of the social studies teachers have been impressing upon all of our students here at Birney.
As for the students we interviewed, they had deeper reasons why they felt becoming an informed voter was important to them.
It'll help me when I know how to vote, so as soon as I get up to the voting post, I know how to vote myself instead of asking for help.
I think it's important because when I get old enough to be able to vote, I won't be confused on how to fill out a ballot and turn it in and pick the candidates that you will want. Well, my grandmother is the mayor. She has been the mayor since 2001. And I think this is important because she's been in a lot of elections, so I need to know a lot about politics.
It's interesting to note that the results from the Birney Middle School students' ballots mirrored actual results on a city, state, and federal level as they correctly chose the president, Congress, Senate, and judges. Now, to learn more about the National Congress of Black Women Oakland County Chapter, visit nationalcongressbw.org.